Welcome back to the 91 podcast. My name is Kosi. Welcome back to brand new video. Arsenal did smash Everton 4-2 in the 93rd and 98th minute. Arsenal scored 2 goals. So what are the 5 lessons we learned from that thriller of action? And what are some of the major important takeaways Arsenal, Mikel Arteta and the boys could actually walk away with? I think Arsenal really showed a lot of resilience, a lot of character. And if they are going to win the Premier League this season, that is the performance they need to replicate in a couple of games. Anfield away, at Emirates Stadium when they host Chelsea, and probably at the Etihad Stadium when they take on Manchester City later on. Hit the like button and let me know who was your best player on the pitch yesterday and what are some of the key lessons Arsenal must improve on if they want to win the title in this season. Now, for me, number 1, Jorginho has arrived. We've talked about him on a couple of occasions on both channels, on Kosi's Arsenal podcast and also on 90 More. And I think my clear point with Jorginho, I say this when Arsenal lost the first game when Jorginho was brought on, his class and quality are undisputed. The problem with Jorginho is that he's not Thomas Partey, and Arsenal fans are never going to like him. They're never going to love him like Thomas Partey. And to be honest, he's not as, a little bit younger as Thomas Partey. He's not as physical as Thomas Partey. Doesn't bring whatever Partey brings to this Arsenal side. Because with Thomas Partey, you have a rest defense that is a little bit more well-defined. You have a rest defense that is even, Arsenal's rest defense when Thomas Partey is on is as good as when Arsenal are not in possession. I hope you guys understand this. And with Jorginho, he's not the kind of guy. Yes, he will intercept the ball a few times. He will win it back a few times. But the quality with Jorginho comes with his ball distribution. The quality with Jorginho comes with game control, game management, and making sure that you can have 80% up to the 80s and 90s of ball possession. You can have up to the 80s and 90s of passing accuracy. Yesterday in that game, Arsenal had up to 87% passing accuracy. In some moments of the game, I think our passing accuracy went up to 100%. And that is courtesy of players like Odegaard and Jorginho. The quality for me of this boy is actually unmatched. The experience he brings to the team, the leadership, you can see. It's a leader. It takes a leader. It takes a team with leaders to never give up. When you go down 5 minutes into a game, you go down on another occasion in 31 minutes in a game, you still go down, but you win it eventually 4-2. So for me, Jorginho has arrived for Arsenal, and the more Thomas Partey is out, the more we are going to see more of Jorginho. I think Arsenal fans will eventually like him. They might not be that impressed like, I am, but I know. With Thomas Partey out, Jorginho is a far better player than all these other, crap players that we had, especially Albert Samuel and Mohamed Elneny. Give me Jorginho all day. Do not give me Mohamed Elneny. So Arsenal fans, there is a reason for you to be happy. With Thomas Partey out, Jorginho could be a nice replacement. I'm not saying he will replace him. I'm not saying he is as good, but I'm saying the aspects of his game that he concentrates on are absolute quality. Number 2, again, chances were not taken yesterday. And this is something I've been singing on both podcasts still when it comes to top-level football. I love Barcelona, I love Arsenal, I love Borussia Dortmund. But one thing that all these 3, and AC Milan actually, the one thing that all these 4 teams do not have or share is they don't take their chances. AC Milan, Arsenal, Barca, those teams never take their chances. And with Arsenal, you cannot do that. This is an Aston Villa game away at the Villa Park. It is 2-2. Edin Nketiah, you've got to score that. You're a number 9. I do not care whether you will later on set up Martin Odegaard for a sitter, which he eventually misses. You've got to score that. Because if Edin Nketiah scores that, the pressure goes down. If Edin Nketiah scores that, Villa are going to panic. If Edin Nketiah scores that, it brings a lot of confidence to the team. I don't know how he put it over the goalkeeper and over the bar. Then Martin Odegaard, because we cannot blame Edin Nketiah and then forget the skipper. That chance, for me, if you ask me how many players do I want that chance to fall onto in this Arsenal team, it's Odegaard alone. Look, Saka is our top scorer. Martinelli is a very, very clinical guy. Gabriel Jesus is a very, very good number 9. But I want that chance to fall to Martin Odegaard. He's my skipper. But most importantly, he's been scoring the very important vital goals. You remember the goal against Fulham? That was very, very special. And I look at him in this game and I go, he will bar it. He's going to bar it. He doesn't. He absolutely doesn't. I think he hits it into the ground, and there and then it goes wide of the post. So look, not all games are going to be 96, 97 plus. Not all games are going to be won in the dying minutes of the game. You've got to take your chances when you can. And it's as simple as that, right? So that is lesson number 2. Mikel has to talk to the boys. If we didn't take our chances against Manchester City, we've got to take them against Aston Villa and Leicester City and Everton. But I think the chances, the fact that we are creating those quality chances is still absolutely very, very good. Number 3, Ben White and Eddie Nketiah were disastrous in that game, and they deserve to be rotated or even kicked out of the starting lineup. I love the courage from Mikel Arteta to go, yes, Martinelli, you're not playing well. There's a player who's playing better than you, and that is Leandro Trossard. Sit on the bench. You will come on later when Leandro Trossard has played 60 or even 70 minutes of the game. I absolutely love that. But then you don't drop Martinelli and keep Ben White. You don't drop Martinelli and keep Eddie Nketiah. You don't drop Gabriel Martinelli and keep Granit Xhaka. That is favoritism. That is absolutely unfair. If you keep one player, then you keep them all. But if you decide to go, I'm going to pick players on merit. I'm going to go pick players because they're doing well. Ben White and Eddie Nketiah have huge question marks, right? They have huge question marks, especially Ben White, who was absolutely disastrous, who was absolutely he was off. He was absolutely off. I looked at him. His passing was sloppy for all the time he spent on the pitch, right? His decision-making is awful, doesn't make the run past Saka, doesn't try to help him, doesn't make any runs to help Saka, and doesn't provide himself in space to receive the ball when Saka cannot, pass it forward. And then, to be honest, when he receives the ball and is in tight spaces, he would rather give it away rather than playing a simple pass to Saka or Odegaard, who are always in support. It's not good enough. It's simply not good enough. Eddie Nketiah, for me, look, he's a backup guy. He's a backup player. And I don't even want to be fuming with Eddie Nketiah. You're a backup guy. You've done very, very well. Absolutely very, very well. It's on Arsenal. If you don't have the courage to go, I have Gabriel Jesus. I'll also bring in, Ivan Toney. It's on Arsenal. It's not on Eddie. It's on Arsenal. He's done what he's supposed to do. Won us the Manchester United game, which was so crucial, very, very crucial. And look, Mikel has to make those substitutions. He has to make those changes as quickly as he can. But number 4 is the positive. Back to the positives. The resilience that Arsenal showed in that game is of champions. Well, I mean, we've got to speak about it. We've got to speak about it. The resilience Arsenal showed in that game, pure champions performance. I'm not saying that wins us the title. I'm not saying the title race is now over. I'm saying that any team that's going to win the title has those moments. I still remember Liverpool when they won the title, not last campaign, but when they won the title, Sadio Mane again against Aston Villa, and Norwich winning it in the dying minutes, winning it in the 90s. Sadio Mane with brilliant goals, right? They're going to be days where Arsenal win by 4 goals to 2. There are going to be days where Arsenal win by 5 goals to 0, but there will be those days where you need to win by 1 goal to 0, and it is 90 minutes and you're still hanging in there until the goal comes. So for me, that resilience is for champions. That is a performance that many clubs do not have. And that is always the difference, right? The difference between Manchester City and Arsenal yesterday on Saturday was Arsenal and Manchester City needed a late time winner. Arsenal got 2 and Manchester City didn't. That was the difference. Look, this quality football of losing 3-1, of winning 3-1, it's always going to happen. It's always going to happen. But what about that moment when Erling Haaland misses a sitter on the line, right? How about that moment? For me, look, we've seen those moments. Vincent Kompany striking at the King Power Stadium, a heavy rocket. We've seen those moments. Skippers and experienced players, stepping up. City needed that one yesterday. They didn't get one. Jorginho provided one at the Emirates. So that is the resilience of champions. You don't give up until the last whistle has gone. Number five, actually, the pressure is on for Manchester City now. And that is true. I looked at that City side against Nottingham Forest. To be honest, they didn't show any signs of panicking. They didn't show any signs of pressure, but they didn't win. Okay, they tried everything. They hit balls outside the penalty area. They did absolutely everything. Absolutely everything. Eventually, it was Chris Wood who had the last laugh. Okay, now the pressure is on for Manchester City. Every game they go into, they know that now there is no second legs. There are no second legs. If Arsenal win this game, then the next one, the title race is running away. And Arsenal have a game in hand. This is why that win actually means a lot. This is why Mikel Arteta has got to believe now. If he's telling the boys, oh, we might not win it, oh, we just want to finish top 4, oh, that's now bullshit, right? All you've got to do now is believe that even when Arsenal lose their next game, Manchester City will be above Arsenal by only 1 point. And that means Arsenal can win their game in hand and go back on top of the table. So many advantages. So many advantages. Arsenal cannot bother this, to be honest. Arsenal cannot bother this, to be honest. So the pressure is on for Manchester City now. Every game they go into, they have Europe to focus on. They have the Premier League to focus on. They have the quality. They've got the squad. But for me, this is a Manchester City side that will drop more and more points. I see them dropping an extra 10 points. I said that on the 90 More podcast weekend preview. They have already dropped 2. If you remember my predictions, I said Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 1. I predicted the shocker. And I see them drop more 8 points, right? They will drop more 8 points. And Arsenal will drop points as well. But the pressure for Man City now is building. And finally, the race for the title has now officially begun. Arsenal cannot now rest. Manchester City are not going to rest. But the race is now on. It is not over. I said this when we lost against Manchester City, that is not where it ends. That is where it begins, right? That is when Arsenal go back in second and they feel uncomfortable and they feel different and they feel ugly and they feel disgusted, right? They'll try to go back to the first spot. It's the same thing like when you fly first class and then you fly economy later. You definitely want to fly first class again. And Arsenal, after flying economy for a few hours, they decided they would rather put up with the pressure of flying first class. Economy, not good enough. So the title race now, guys, is on. I pray that Man United drop more points, because if United drop points and go within that range of 15, 16 points, it literally means Arsenal are gone. Arsenal are gone. We are out of range for Man United, and then we will be out of range for Manchester City very, very soon. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. What are some of the very interesting key points that you learned from that game? And do you think Arsenal will now keep their lead? Arsenal did go a couple of games unbeaten, by the way, in the first half, in the first leg of the Premier League. I think, how many games did we lose? We lost against Manchester City, Everton, and Man United. Those are the only 3 games we lost in the first half of the season, okay? So we've got to hang in there. Manchester City have lost against Tottenham. They've lost against Liverpool. They've lost against Manchester United as well. So you can see that the difference between these 2 teams is very, very small. It's only when you lose, okay? When you lose, everybody magnifies Arsenal's weaknesses. But when Manchester City lose, everybody says they slipped. So they will keep on slipping until many people will actually realize, okay, City need a transfer window to refresh. But I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.